All right, what's up, y'all? It's the It's Your Neighbor podcast. I'm Monty Reyment, back here, episode number 29.
Dude,
Anthony
I feel like
Alvarado.
it should be like an explosion when we say that. You know what I mean? Episode 29. We're just crushing
We
it.
do have production.
I mean, this
capabilities.
is a full studio now. Let's be honest.
Let's do it.
Last week's episode with Milo Music was
That was
unbelievable.
awesome. Dave's cool dude, man.
Dave is a cool dude.
Yeah.
And he's been doing community development, obviously, for a long time, crushing music with the upcoming Milo Music, 11th year.
Yeah.
You know, they've had upwards of almost 1,000 acts in 1 year. This year, I think it's like, I don't know, 900?
It's a lot,
Something
yeah,
like
sets.
that.
Sets, not
sets.
acts.
Yeah,
Not
so
acts, but still.
different sets from a variety of different artists,
Right.
all up and down College Avenue in Appleton.
It was cool.
It was
and
really
just to listen to like his view on the community, and he just wanted to bring somebody in that, you know, or bring something to the community to give value, and
Yeah.
like it inspired me obviously for what we're about to roll out here
Exactly.
soon. So
I mean, events, big deal.
Yeah, I mean we have the event stuff, but even our
Yeah.
fall fest or
Dude, I can't wait
Harvest
to talk about
Festival
the
or
Fall
whatever.
Fest,
Like
yeah.
hopefully next week we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that. But
Exactly.
I'm super pumped about all this stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. And a huge shout out to Neo Medina, a big
Yeah.
mural artist, Appleton. That reel popped off, just his story popped off, and everybody is really loving it, especially within the art community. So many people
Yeah.
shared that little bit that we put out about
well, and
him
it's
a
so
couple
interesting
weeks ago.
too, like to know that Wisconsin's one of the least funded, you know, states
Yeah.
for
Public art.
artists in public art. Like I appreciate it a ton. I mean, I grew up as an athlete, you know,
Yeah.
and like our guest today as well. But there is an appreciation for somebody with a talent like that, and to be a muralist, to have a vision, to be able to paint a 40-foot by 40-foot picture, and
Yeah.
to be able to put it all together, to me is mind-boggling.
And then
But
to
he
have
was
young
incredible.
people in there
and bring in,
and painting with him and having community members break down silos and racial barriers just through the powerful platform
Right.
of art. So with this episode, of course, we're always interviewing our neighbors and inspiring communities, literally one neighbor at a time. And do you want to go ahead and introduce our
I'm
special
excited
neighbors
about
today?
this one. So
Yeah.
I have one of my great friends, Chandra Johnson-Francies, on today.
Yes.
And Harry Boyce from 1848 and the workshop.
Yeah, Team
in
1848.
Hobart.
Let's
So
go.
You guys probably recognize both of them as being kind of a big deal in our community. You know, at least for us, for the older listeners and watchers. I mean, not that much older, right? But like, you know, like, I mean, the young people know who you are too.
Those
So
ageist.
I stay away from the racial stuff today. I was going right into age.
This is on the-
Ageist.
Yes. So thank you so much for being in the house. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Just
Good.
just got done with camp and zoomed over here, and so
Awesome.
rather be in here than the hot gym. So yeah.
Hey,
I hear that.
don't worry. This studio will heat up in a minute.
That's right. So why don't you tell us a little bit more of who you are and what your role is with 1848?
My name's Harry Boyce. I am the founder of Team 1848. I think I'm starting to lose the years here.
Yes.
I want to say this is year 7 or 8. I want to say year 8. I launched it as a full program, I think. Well, I was still playing overseas in the final year, so
Yeah.
I think it was 8. It's 8 years. Been 8 years as a full program. 7-8 years. As
Oh,
a full
that's cool.
program now.
That's cool. And what is your role with 1848?
So I recently came on board, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, like a month ago.
About a month ago. And so my role is to really, director of the girls side for the AU program for Team 1848. So
That's awesome. That's
love
awesome.
excited to be part
And
of
how
the team.
you guys connected all together? I mean, I know you were already kind of talking
The
about
gym,
it, but
probably
the gym,
for the
right?
most
Sports.
part.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known Chandra for a while, so it's all interweaving in our community, and we always ran into each other. Now we're just good friends. But and her husband Chris and I are good friends too. We still play rec league football and try to stay not injured. We play basketball too. We're just not very good
And
anymore.
fish.
So and fish. Oh yeah,
Fish,
Chris
right?
and I. Chris and I go fishing.
Yeah, fishing
That's
brought
right.
them together.
Yeah.
that is right. I
Yeah,
heard
so
that. Yeah.
no, my arm brought me and Chris together.
Oh,
But
it's true. He threw and Chris caught.
yeah, exactly. I was like, I love this guy. He catches all my balls. We're good. So, but no, so Harry, it's very interesting because obviously you and I are similar in age. I had a chance to watch you, flourish at Green Bay East and being a local guy, and Chandra, your background at UWGB and being one of all-time, greats there. But what was the thought behind, Team 1848 and the workshop and all that stuff? I mean, where did that come from?
Honestly, the workshop was an afterthought. I had no idea that that's like where I would land. I went to school, graduated with a degree in political science and sociology and a minor in psychology, and me becoming a trainer and this thing like going that way really wasn't ever a thought. Like it was something cool that I probably thought about as I was a kid. But long story short, growing up in Green Bay, playing AAU basketball for one of the most storied programs in the history of the state, Wisconsin Playground, I understood AAU in that way. And then after going on playing Division I basketball, playing a year of Division II basketball, then going on to play professionally for 10 years. In that time, I had started to coach basketball in the spring, summer when I got home for a program in Appleton. I'm not going to say the name just because it's about us. Right? But and it's one of
I was down in Appleton. Yep.
Yeah. And
That's
it's
good.
one of the bigger programs in the state. And just seeing the way they did things, I wanted to kind of change that. And I had a group of kids that I was about to be done coaching just because of my own career and the time. And the parents really approached me. Huge thank you to the Saxby family and that first group of kids that I had that I was coaching them from like 13 or 14U to their 17U. And they said, dude, why are you going to be done? Like, go play overseas, go, you finish that. And they were like, you don't have to do anything. Like, we'll collect the money, we'll sign everything up, and you just come home and coach our kids as soon as you're done. And I'm like, all right, man, cool.
Hard to argue with that logic, right?
Yeah, like I had been coaching them and playing overseas. Anybody knows me, like I don't have the capacity to multitask in that way, right? Like that's why Chandra, come on, hey.
Right?
It's like I handle
and
operations.
Michelle and our great team of admins and our people,
Yes.
I don't have the capacity to do that. Like I'm playing overseas, I'm worrying about those things, and they said they'd take care of everything. And the next thing you know, I'm in Darboy, Wisconsin, and we're freaking scheming on different names. And you should have saw some of the names that we had, like Band of Brothers. It was like the worst names ever. Like, just terrible names. I'm like, why? And finally, I was like, what about Team 1848? And they were like, and
what's the significance behind that number?
1848 when Wisconsin became a state.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So
makes
one of
sense.
my favorite teachers in high school, Mr. Reimer, shout out to Mr. Reimer, we were doing something and I learned that in high school. Like in 1848, Wisconsin became a state, and that rhyme has always stayed with me. And I was like, what a frick, that'd be awesome, Team 1848. So that's how we got the name. And for the first couple years, I would just come home and coach one team. And met a guy by the name of Bart Johnson, who's a great friend of mine. And Bart was like, dude, this is awesome. You should turn this into not just a single team. Like that's what I would do. For 2 years, I got a group of 16, 17-year-old boys, some of the best players in the area, and I just coached that one team. Yeah. And he said, dude, you should make this into a whole thing. Like, we'll help you. What can we do? My wife will take care of the website, all these things. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And that after that year, I was retired.
Of course.
And then I ended up going back in the same year, right? My old team that I had won a championship with, like, hounded the crap out of me. So I ended up actually going back. But while I went back to Germany, I was recruiting like crazy. And that year we had one of the best teams, best talented teams ever. Our 2019 class with like Will Pitletsky, Patrick Sumnick, who plays now at Oklahoma State, Lucas Stieber, who played at GB, who graduated from Gardner-Webb, Kyle Douse. Like we had some dudes, Rafe Whalen, like that class was loaded. And those boys could play. They were good. Zane Short, who also played at GB, like that class was crazy for us. And then from there, like just started surrounding ourselves with good coaches and kids started to come. And our idea was just to try to do things right, for it to be about the kids, right? And just more than anything, do things right? And let competition take care of itself. Like, we're never promising anything. We're never, lying to kids, telling them they're going to get this, that, and the other. It was just really doing something that nobody else wanted to do. Is like, we were going out and freaking playing in the toughest tournaments we could, and we were getting our heads kicked in, and we were kicking some heads in too. But that's really what got it started. And then I was approached by a good friend of mine now, Kendra Anderson, after doing a camp at Aurora, because we had a partnership. We have a partnership with Baycare Sports Med, Baycare and Baycare Sports Med, and I would also do a clinic at the Sports Med Center out in like Bellevue area. And a little girl I met, I love her to death. She's one of the kids that I'm thankful for, because she helped us open up on the girl side, right? And her mom, who's a great friend of mine, and dad, Mark, they call me sexist. They're like, "Oh, why don't you have any girls teams?" I'm like, "Dude, we're not there yet. Like, we got 7 teams right now. Like, this is my focus." And she's like, "You're sexist." And through her hounding me a few times and me training her daughter, I said, "Okay, here's the deal." And I did it like, there's no way this is going to happen. Like, I'm betting against you. There's no way this is going to happen. I go, "You go get me a team." I go, "You go get a team." This is like November, December. Thinking, no way. We already had tryouts, right?
Yeah.
We're late. 2 weeks later, she calls me. She goes, "We got 16 girls coming in for tryouts." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And then it turned into, "Well, I'm not coaching them."
Guess who's
coaching them? So, and then from there, like, it kind of took off from there. Like, we got rolling, and we started to grow, and our girls started to develop like the boys, and then a few years later, here we are. That class has just graduated. That class of 2024 girls. Some girls playing college soccer. Some are playing college basketball. Some are playing volleyball at GB. That's like cool. That's what it's about, right? It was never about them having to become college basketball players. It was all those things leading up to getting them to that destination they wanted to get to, the lessons learned.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And now here we are, and then we're really trying to make the product jump off the shelf.
Yeah. So how does Chandra? Obviously her background is pretty much like a plug and play, right?
That's right.
Like, and she's got that intelligence about her. She's got the drive. There's a dog in Chandra at points too. So, like, how did that all fit in? How did that come to light? Well, to me, it's easy.
Yeah,
but
it's a no brainer. I've known Chandra for many, many years now. Since after college, and then on my way to pros, I've known her, and we've had lots of mutual friends. And I 100% like wholeheartedly respect her, and also know that she is an equal to me in this game as far as knowledge and resume and all those things. Like, you cannot deny that.
Right.
And there's not a lot of people, and I don't mean to say this in any type of way, but there's not a lot of people that I'm going to look at in this space and be like, "Oh yeah,
right,
they're equal to what I know, what I do, where I've been," right? And so when we talk about, and I've been trying to get her for like a couple years, right? And we didn't have the teams. We didn't have the teams, and she was very, like, our conversation was very open and genuine, and the communication was fair, and it was just like, "Hey, you don't have this team right now," which I didn't, and I'm coaching here right now, and like, I have to respect that. Like, I respect it. Like, "Hey, yo, I get it." And like, I wanted her to even like be my assistant coach for a job I applied for, like at the high school level, all the things. Like, that's how much I respect her. And I just like, I kept waiting and knocking at the door, like, come on. And finally I'm like, "All right, dude, like,
You do this or what?
Hey, here it is. Here's what you could be for us."
Yeah. So Chandra, why now? Like, three months ago, you made the decision. Why now to after Harry's been begging you apparently for years? Why now? What was it?
I mean, I've watched his program continue to grow, and I respect it. The mutual respect is there, and I think it's just a good time. I have Kiani, who's now going to be a 6th grader, and she needs a facility to train in ongoing year-round training. I just feel like we align in what our what we want out of a program and what we want out of our girls, and the culture that we're going to set and the standard that we're going to set. I feel like we are on the same page, and it's just sometimes about timing in life.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah,
like sometimes
absolutely.
it's just timing, and
right.
that's about it. So I'm super excited to be here. We are probably, I think it's fair to say, exceeding our expectations in year
We are
one.
exceeding expectations. It's
Knowing
scary.
what numbers
be
we
very-
have for tryouts coming up, and so we're just trying to really provide a product and an experience for girls that they can continue to be their best selves on the court and off the court as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I mean, for someone who's a father, my son was big in the basketball, and so we're down in Appleton, so we've been a part of some of the groups and watch him play at the Y, and literally just out at every court, and even still, some of his friends today, we get out there and we play. But what an essential, role in his life to be able to play, get out on the court, be part of a team, and really help develop those social skills. And so, I just love what you guys are doing, and it sounds like you're offering something that's really also something different than what is out there. So can you maybe shine a little bit of light on kind of what you guys are focused on?
Well, before you get into that, so to give you a little context, Harry, Chandra knows this. I worked in sports for 10 years previous to this. My job, I worked at NCSA Sports. So I was helping kids go to college to play sports throughout. And there's that mixed connotation about AAU, right? Like you see the videos, you see the fights, you see all that stuff, but then you also know those are isolated incidences. I mean, and generally it's a parent issue. So I think you might have been alluding to some of that before when you talked about the team you didn't want to talk about. But I'm guessing the way that they were running the program was not in line with a lot of the things that and values you bring.
That's right.
That are trying to get that, which is part of that negative connotation of AAU, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for us, one thing is experience. We have coaches that played. We have some that didn't play, but they've been around this. You don't have to be a state varsity coach to be a good coach.
Right.
You go look at some of the coaches at the highest levels, these dudes weren't players. They were around the game. They understood it. They were students of it. They absorbed it all, and they know how to apply it. They know how to make it come alive, right? That's what it's about, and I think that's what we have. You've got two basketball people running a basketball program.
Right.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Right.
Makes all the sense in the world.
What are we talking about here? That's what you have, right?
Yeah.
We have people that understand development. We've got people that have organization, people skills, communication skills. We both have children, right? Her kids are older than mine, but we also understand kids and how to communicate with them. And I think that I'm able to relate and stay with the times. I watch some music videos, and I don't know so much about the
See, now
TikTok.
you're right.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Damn ages.
I know what's going on. I know what's going on.
But I think we have that, and I think our coaches
matters.
that we're bringing in have that as well, and they get it. And we have people that they're about development. Development goes, in my opinion, what I believe is it goes far beyond what we're doing on the court. Right. My kids, I've had parents that call me at home, hey, yo, we're struggling in this class, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh, I got a tutor for you. And this is leadership led too, right? This is leadership led. So next, I'm calling one of my kids that plays in my program, right? Servant leader led, and they got great grades, and they're going to go tutor this kid. Right. That's
really
that's what we have that other places don't have. Right. Is that part and we're gonna use that.
And from a girl's perspective, you brought it up right away. We're going beyond the court, and so what does that look like for them? If there's any other examples.
Well, I mean, we're developing on the court, but also off the court. I mean, we're going to have girls that have all different kinds of goals, right? And how do they reach those goals? We want them to go back to their schools or high schools and represent like your team 1848. You are one of our top girls in our area. We want you to represent that in our community. We want you to represent that on your school team. And so, my job is, again, to create coaches that the girls can lean on and have resources, whether it is a college basketball scholarship is their end goal or whatever that looks like, and provide them, the leadership and allow them to lean on me and allow them to lean on the coaches that are surrounding them to get where they want to be.
I love that.
Yeah, and that was a big thing. When I was at NCSA, it was always about the right fit, but also like college isn't always on the pedestal, and that was the hard part for me because I was literally, my job was to help kids go to college, and then I would get on the call with somebody and you could tell the kid didn't want to go to college, but the parents wanted him to go to college. And so you're battling a parent-kid conflict, and and it took the fun out of the sport for the kid at times. But if you're going to commit to an AAU team, I would assume you're committed. Like whether college is the goal at the end of the day, understand a lot of your teammates are looking for that opportunity as well. Be that supporting cast, be that person that can help them rise up to get to their goals. And in the meantime, they'll be forever grateful. It's going to come back, that kind of thing. And those were issues and things that I had to have conversations with, not only with parents, but also my bosses. Like, hey, I'm not going to take this family's money because the kid doesn't want to play. So that's how you lose jobs, I guess. But but that's really like how it became at the end for me. But that's where I think what you guys are doing is unique. To me, at least from hearing, and I've talked to, I trained 10,000 kids on the recruiting process. I know I don't know it anymore because of NIL and all that stuff, but that was the verbiage back in the day. Is like, hey, let's be the best version of yourself, because as you guys know, like college coaches recruit character more times than they'll recruit like an all-star. The all-stars are easy to find. It's them in-betweeners that aren't. So, and I'm sure you guys deal a lot with that.
Well, and I think that's part of why it's so important that me and Harry are leading. I mean, we know what it does take to get recruited. And coaches are looking at social media nowadays. They are looking at body language. They're looking at nonverbal communication. I mean, they're not just looking at a stat line.
They're looking at parents.
They're looking at parents.
Yeah, the family.
And having parent conversations on what,
I'll never forget. I was I went to a high school game. And it was a local one, and you can always check a college scout. They're easy to find in the stands. It was football, and I walked up to him, introduced myself. I said, "Hey, I work for NCSA." He's like, "Cool, like what you guys do?" And I was like, "Great." I go, "Who are you here watching?" And he pointed at the kid, and I was like, "Cool." And all of a sudden, like this person in the stands started berating the coach, berating the official, F-bomb this, F-bomb that. And the scout goes to me, he's like, "Can you go find out who that is?" So I went and talked to somebody that I knew, and I go, "Do you know who that is?" I'm like, "Oh, that's that kid's uncle." He's like, folded his shit up. He was gone.
I'm out of here.
He's like, "I liked him. I didn't like him that much." And that was it. It was like, oh man, like parents understand this. Family members, you can ruin an opportunity for your kids. Like that's wild to me.
Yeah, families are culture killers.
Yeah.
No, any program that's any good wants no culture killer. The moment you're going to come into their space, because this is a relationship, that's a marriage. Like once you take that kid on, you take that family on. Everybody goes. It's like when you marry a wife, you marry mom and dad. You know what I mean? Everybody's coming. Everybody's coming.
The whole family's there.
There you go. So hope you like mom. Hope you like dad.
So
like
you guys,
that's how that goes.
when you guys bring kids in for tryouts, is that something you're monitoring as well?
100%.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it because it's the truth. Like we've been in situations where a kid's really good, and it's undeniable how good this kid is. And this kid, scholarship kid, but their parents they don't get it.
Non-scholarship parents.
There you go. They don't get it.
There you go. Right.
They don't get it. That's the best way to put it. This kid, this player has a scholarship player, but the parent's not a scholarship parent.
Yeah.
Right.
And it only takes one apple.
Yeah.
That's true.
It only takes one bad apple.
Yeah.
And we've had to, and unfortunately, and I hope we never lose this. I hope we keep this. It's not fair to the kid.
Right.
But sometimes parents ruin opportunities for their children.
Oh, yeah.
And children might ruin some opportunities for parents or families or however that goes. Like that can go hand in hand.
Yep.
And we've been in that situation where this kid's really good.
Yeah.
but we're not dealing with dad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that reminds
So
me.
you can take that somewhere else, and we'll take the kid that might be not as good, but they're close.
Coachable.
And we're going to take the parent that everybody likes to be around on the road because you spend a lot of weekends together.
Like you said, the
A lot
whole
of
family.
weekends together.
The whole
That's
family.
right.
The
It's
whole
a family of
That's right.
families.
Yep.
But not only that, like we need our parents to pour in to their kids what we're pouring into their team.
Right.
So the conversation is like this. We're at a game. Hey, move the ball side, top side, swing it, da-da-da-da. After that game, we lose, let's say. And that conversation with that parent and kid walking out to the cars, oh, you should have shot more. Why did so-and-so da-da-da-da-da? And why didn't coach have you in at this time? Who you think they're listening to?
Yeah.
Right.
Them. So now when we talk this, when we're talking culture and we're talking about what we're trying to do, because our goal is bigger than no disrespect to high school athletics because they are necessary. I love it. But AAU is what gets it done.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can say what you want to say, but AAU and basketball is
Club
That's-
sports in general.
that's what gets it done.
Yep.
Unfortunately, but fortunately,
Right.
like that's what gets it done. So when we're trying to create these things and we don't have the same timeline, we don't get 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So these
Yeah.
games, our timeline is fast,
Yeah.
right? AAU club sports, it's fast paced because you don't have time for like my scout is one game before we play them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Like I got
You're not
less than
getting their
24
huddle
hours.
footage. You're not getting their huddle footage ahead of time.
That's right. I got to be there right then and there
Yep.
taking notes. Now, when we're trying to do these things, this kid's like, F you. My parents said that I should be shooting more. Or
Oh, okay.
why is so-and-so in the game and now their attitude stinks? Right? And this season goes too fast and everything's too fast paced to deal with that.
That's life, though, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
whatever you put into your
absolutely.
ears is who you become.
You know.
And if your parents are telling you that, that's what you're hearing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's who you become.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's this accountability, right? To be on this team, to be in this space, to show up, to be committed, to be disciplined. That takes work. And everybody that's showing up is putting in their own work. And if you have somebody that's not, I think how that impacts the entire team. You know, I think about all the athletes that my son played with up through high school. And I remember when he tried out for some of the club teams and he didn't make it that first run. And man, was he upset. And he was just so disappointed. But the work that he had to put in after that, you know what I mean? Now, unfortunately, he didn't get back on a team and get inspired and wasn't able to do that. But at the same time, like just seeing like how much better he was when he was on the court and how much better he was when he had the right team around him, right? And that wasn't always the case. I mean, there was kids that he played with where they were unbelievable players, without a doubt. Some of the best talent on the court at that age, 8th grade, 9th grade, etc. And, you know, but off the court, things weren't as pretty. Things were messy. Things weren't going as well for those students. So those students unfortunately didn't make it as far in, you know, that career because they chose to do things otherwise. You know what I mean?
And there will be girls that may not make a team, right? And how do you respond, right? How do you
did MJ
respond when you get, cut or there you got to know? You know, we've as an athlete, I can speak for myself. I've had to get back up and work harder. I mean, it wasn't always easy to earn a Division I scholarship. And then, surrounding. We're being very intentional with our coaches to ensure that we're surrounding people with that culture. And then I think what we're doing that was really key is not only openly communicating with all the families.
Yeah.
I mean, we're having daily conversation with families right now about what the culture is going to look like, but also we hosted an open house last week, Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday.
Last Sunday, so where parents could come in and watch a potential practice, watch a skill and development training session,
That's
and
awesome.
feel the culture to ensure that we want them to want to be there.
Yeah.
Well, and you're being transparent. Then you're not hiding anything either, which is that's a smart move.
Correct.
We had all of our coaches there,
Yep.
and we said, "Hey, go ask questions and ask hard questions too, because these are people that are prepared for it. What you asked. We couldn't. We didn't have a coaching meeting about how you're going to answer X, Y, Z. Like we told these people, hey, be here. This is what we're doing, and when you guys come here, ask these coaches these questions if you want to know.
Yeah.
Like we're just being open and transparent. There is no hiding anything, right? There's no hidden agenda here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
I love that too.
That's how businesses should run, really.
For sure. Speaking of running businesses, there's plenty of people that listen to this podcast that run businesses, run their own thing. And if there's anybody that's listening that's running a team, because we do have people really talking about sports here especially, and if they're out there putting something together, working with young people, their community development can be challenging, So
Absolutely.
can you maybe talk one challenge that you've overcome recently that maybe somebody can learn from as they're out there building their own thing?
That's a great question, and it is, and I kind of have something like, you will have people that will doubt you. You will have people that will try to say things that will diminish your progress, right? That will try to tear down what you're trying to do. And I think the biggest thing is stay true to who you are, be truthful about who you are and what you're trying to do, and then just freaking go do it. Like, stay with it. Like, we are two very, very competitive people, and it's like, you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want, but we're going to get it.
That's cool.
Right?
I love it. That's how I
I
roll.
love that.
Yeah, and you know what?
That's how
on
we
top
work.
of it, we're gonna go get it the right way.
Yes, yes.
That's the kicker.
Chandra, anything from you? I mean, I'm sure the women's side presents a whole nother. I mean, there's a huge rise in women's sports.
Yeah.
now
There
anyway,
is a
which
huge
is great,
rise.
which is
Yes,
great.
They're smashing records. WNBA continues to have, smash records
By a
left
mile.
and right. I know.
By
I
a
know.
mile. You and I have talked about this for a
there's
long
just
time.
generally excitement around women's basketball right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And so, I'm excited. But I think the biggest thing for me is just not – there will be people that are excited for you, but behind your back aren't generally excited for you.
Oh, I know that.
Okay?
Oh, man, this is a running
so-
theme, I swear.
This gets me fired up. I want to start tomorrow. Let's go.
So it's
Did y'all hear that? Let's go, by the way.
I want to go. I want to start tomorrow.
not everybody wants to see you win.
Right.
Not everybody.
Okay, so they
I
might
love
say
those
it,
people,
but
by
they
the
don't
way.
always. They don't. So surround yourself with people who truly want to see
Yeah,
you win.
they really are applauding you.
That's a great. That is the best advice. Like, I mean, your advice was great, but who you surround yourself with, that's that rocket fuel, right? There's always that adage of so many people can give you enough fuel to get you to launch, and sometimes those rockets fall off the rocket, and that rocket keeps going. And you still have that reserve. That's who your people are. That's your gas, right? And so those are really the people. And you find that in especially like starting a business last year and making the decision to come over here, and my vision. And I know people were upfront about it. I know people behind my back said it.
Oh, yeah.
But like I believed in myself, and then all of a sudden. It was interesting. What you just said is like all of a sudden you start finding out all these people have similar like goals, similar alignment, similar behaviors, and they just kind of like attract to you. And like those people are. And then eventually some of those people kind of thought they knew what they wanted, and then they kind of it wasn't really like for them, right? So it's that's great advice because I live that. We all live that every day. And as a business owner, and you guys are both now like you're running business and you have a team, so you're kind of running multiple businesses. In reality, that's some great advice. That gets me fired up.
Yeah, and that is a challenge that people seem to face. If you're out doing something new, innovative, something different, something that is not the norm, it is awesome and it feels amazing, especially because you believe in it and you have passion and purpose. You can see that in both of you. But you're right, it isn't always easy, and that the people that are looking for you the far, the people that are watching the most. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be mindful that there is that hard work that needs to be put in. Sometimes those days don't feel awesome and they're not too cool. So having your people next to you is absolutely
You know what
crucial.
else is cool?
Yeah.
I just noticed this. We started getting some like negative comments on there.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
We got our first trolls.
Yes.
Getting our first trolls. That means we're doing something
that's
right.
right.
Yeah,
I had somebody
yeah.
say like to me last week on Friday.
Yeah.
It's a different real estate brokerage, and they mentioned something to one of our agents and said they don't like our style of marketing, and I said great.
Yes.
Great. At least you're paying attention.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But like
people are paying
I like it.
attention. Let's go.
Like that's the kicker is like then this probably ain't for you. But there's a bunch of people that it is for.
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's
Yeah.
like, what are we talking about?
Why are you
here,
so
people?
focused
Because there's
on the
plenty of
one
other people that are being
person
like,
doesn't like you?
finally, I found what I'm looking
But
for.
doesn't that,
right?
doesn't
You know
that
what I
happen
mean?
all the
Like,
time, though? You always have, like, you find people who are like, oh, this person doesn't like me, and they overcommit to trying to get that person to like them, and they just never will. I feel like it's like Michael Scott in The Office, right? Like, he's always trying to get every single person to like him all the time, and they just never end up liking him. You know?
They're
So-
just not your people.
Right.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like
That's
that's
right.
not your clientele. Like, and I'll say this all the time about the workshop. I'm like, I'm not for everybody.
Right.
Like, I don't want the kid that wants to pick up a ball once a week.
Yeah.
Like, then I'm not for you. And I don't want the kid that is not doing a good job, but wants me to tell them they're doing a good job. Like, I don't want you. I want the kids that want to get their face down and dirty. They want to grit and grind. I want the everydayer, and I want the kid that wants me to be truthful to them.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
Like
Love it.
those are the kids I want. We want the kids right now that that want to go out and get it.
Yep.
We want the families that want to go out and get it. Right? Like, we're not dodging anybody. We don't want anybody to have, like, I don't want to go play in a tournament for a feel-good story.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, it goes one or two ways. You win or you lose.
I love it. I love it.
Like-
Should we flip it?
We should flip it.
You guys know about our flips?
Do you know the flip?
I don't know what the flip
No
is.
idea.
All right, this is the special section where we're going to flip it, where the hosts become the guests,
You guys ask
and the guests
questions
become
now.
the hosts, and you get to ask us questions.
We just throw it. We do this. We don't tell anybody or prep anybody.
Clearly.
We do this.
I'm like, wait, okay.
Yep. So Chandra, you can lead us off.
So what?
It can
Any
be
question?
anything. It can be
So
real
then-
estate related, sports
Yeah.
related, me related, Anthony related. Doesn't matter. Podcast related.
What is your biggest achievement that you guys have accomplished so far, professionally and personally?
Oh my gosh. Oh, you want to start?
It's coming with the fire right
Damn.
away.
The
Wow.
biggest,
Right off
biggest
the-
accomplishment.
Yes.
You go ahead.
Yeah,
I mean, you've done some stuff.
yes,
I
yeah.
mean, you like a national public speaker. You spoke at the White House, haven't you? Like,
Yeah, I had a call from the White House. That
Okay.
was cool, and they did ask me to come through. And then the government shut down.
just said no?
And no, the government
Oh.
shut down, and then things.
COVID?
Yeah, things happened, right? And COVID, and then never bounced back. But at the end of the day, as a national advocate, it's been an honor to be featured in like Forbes and NPR and
Yeah.
USA Today and all the things.
he's done some things.
But with that being said, I think at the end of the day, when I really think about it, the accomplishment, whether it's in the car shows I used to put together way back in the day, or the nonprofit that I led for the last 10 years, we're going to our 11th year this year, or coming here as a CMO for this last year, at the end of it, it's like helping like to teach people to find their voice. That's my accomplishment.
Yeah, that's really good.
That is because no matter what, it kind of was dumbfounding to me that I'd end up in a brokerage, right? And I knew I'd do something else, but here I'm like helping people to discover their story, their voice, how to go out and create business, how to go out and build connection. And that's what I did with young people for the last 10 years, is really come alongside them, help them say, hey, what do you care about? This is how you advocate for yourself and for others. So at the end of the day, I think my biggest accomplishment is helping others find their voice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest is hiring Anthony.
Yeah, with that answer alone, I'm like, oh, you got a good one, dude.
I think like right now I'm in that point of like my biggest accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like the next day is always the biggest accomplishment, because I've been able to like sacrifice a huge amount of money this year to feed a lot of people and create incomes
you.
and jobs and do all that. So like the fact that I went and started my own business, operating as a business that's community driven, that's has a giving mentality, that's doing things in the community. Like right now, like every day is what like where it is, where is my biggest accomplishment is right now. Bring it up every almost episode, but hiring Brad to be our
he's a rock
mental
star.
health coach and Carrie to be our executive coach, like
always
to
grow, right?
to be able to take this and to be able to put some causes, obviously Anthony's background and his ability and all of the people that we have here,
So many
to
awesome
amass
people.
the amount of talent that we have here, that's much bigger than just me, and to be able to put that into one group and be able to like do things for the community. We're just beginning, like we're at the I was reading your website about grassroots. We're really in the beginning stages of what this is going to become, and changing and disrupting the way real estate is done or should be done. is really big for me right now. So I would say right now. I mean, I got college accolades and all that other stuff, but
this feels
big.
really exciting.
Yeah.
It gets me up every day. You know,
Grassroots of Realty.
Grassroots of Realty.
Seriously,
Yeah.
that's. I don't even so much like the term AAU.
right. Well, there is
That's
there's
the
that
generic term.
icky.
Of it.
There's an icky
Connotation.
connotation attached to
Yep.
AAU. You know,
But we are grassroots. Like
Yeah.
we are at the bottom. We are about development first, and all those different things. Like
yeah.
complete sense.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's your question? Chandra just threw some
Dude,
fire out. I don't know how you're going to follow
even-
that question up.
Can I be honest? I don't think I can, and she did a really good job.
Well, one thing that you said, it wasn't a question, but I'll help fill in the gap. Is you were like, look, I came in here and got so much stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's actually something that is kind of a question. Like, what do we have going on here, right? And at the end of the day,
Or you're just going to ask the question for me?
yeah.
Just say, yeah.
I'm just setting you
ask
up.
it. So what all is going on?
Thanks, Eric.
There we go.
I got you.
You got it. All right, there we go. I was like, here. No, all right.
Here's the layup. Hey, you just threw him an alley-oop.
So what we have going on here is essentially three core things. I mean, outside of the awesome culture that we have and the people that you just referenced, I mean, it literally, every person has like a super story. They're like, I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm also doing real
I
estate.
think everybody has a super story, though. That's what makes it unique.
I like that.
Yeah, literally, I do.
I do like that.
Everybody's unique.
And we're
in a
finding
way.
that
Yeah.
here together, which is super cool. But at the end of the day, we also do some stuff, right? Like business-wise.
Yeah,
we
let's
sell
talk about
homes, right? We have rentals that's offered mostly to our clients, but also to the public. So you can literally rent everything from party supplies to tools from us, making your DIY
once you're-
and your home renovations that much easier.
Once you
or
close a
your parties.
property, yep.
And then, we have a moving truck and we also even have a party space. So the event space that you guys checked out is something where people have been coming through and hosting events. We can also do events off-site. So, it's all community driven, even this show, as you can tell, highlighting our neighbors. And that's how we're doing things differently, is being able to invest back in the community with what we have and highlight, neighbors that make this community so sweet.
Yeah. And it's more about giving than it is giving back. You
Yeah.
know, because I've gotten, Rob brought this up. He heard a podcast at one point. He brought up to me like a little bit ago, and it just made me think of how the word giving back, even though it's semantics, and I say this now almost every week, but it's a little bit of semantics when you say giving back, but I always feel like you have to take in order to give back. Like, I just want to give. And then the community will give back to me, so that's kind of where we're changing that mentality. And we've always kind of had that mentality, but just like the whole word give back is like, we have to take in order to give. Why don't we
Yeah,
just
there's
give?
plenty of organizations out there, companies that give back. You know
Sure.
what I mean? And there's so many great efforts. But spending time with people, building relationships, and that even happens in the studio. So that's kind of what we're doing over here.
And it's been, our growth has been exponential too.
Yeah.
Like in a year's
Going into
time
year
is
2
wild.
now, so we're
I just
excited.
need more experienced people
Damn,
here.
I'm over here like, man, we looking for a new house too. I might have to see what these guys gonna help me buy my next house. I know.
dude.
I'm like, they got me. They got me.
Yes,
Let's
let's
go.
go. Let's
Well,
go.
this is
Got us.
inspiring to hear, though, because, you guys talk about how much you've grown. I mean, I'm hoping in a year we can come back and talk about how much we've grown
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
I mean,
As
I've
we're
seen
growing
your
the girl
growth in
side
the
right
last,
now.
and I remember just watching the gym getting built, and I was like, oh, that just
Yeah.
looks cool. Like I always dreamed about building my own gym at one point, and just being a terrible hooper in my own gym. But,
Yes.
but
That's me now.
right?
This guy can't even make a layup.
Yeah,
That's how I am. I try, though. I try.
So,
I'll get out there.
But yeah, I would love to do that and just see, because that's the fun part,
That's
right?
the
The
fun
beginning
part,
is
to
out
reflect.
and I think the other thing is documenting the beginning. I remember when I started in real estate and it was a duplex, and then I lost a shitload of money on a flip, and I in real estate investing is what got me in, and then I started working with people, and I was like, I like this more, and I just burned out with the with the last career, and I was like, I need something new, but I want to be able to apply the coaching, and I want to be able to apply the mentality, and you can take that mentality and apply it to anything business related, community driven, as long as you're looking to empower others. You can apply that anywhere, and you're going to get the naysayers, you're going to get all that, but you're going to get the right people that listen to you, and all of a sudden their growth is there, and that's the fun part for me. That's why I do what we do.
Yes.
Like, I love watching other people succeed. So to watch you guys, don't forget the beginning, because that's
Have you been documenting?
So listen.
Well, listen. Yes, and here.
So in my head, I've been calling it the Chandra effect. So
Can we get a T-shirt?
In his head, though. He hasn't. Now it's out.
I
Now
haven't
it's
said
out.
it yet. I haven't said it
You
yet,
just
but
said
I'm
it,
like,
so it's
I'm
out.
like,
Your
man.
face was like, ah.
I'm like, man. Okay, so we started. I mean, we started our first girls team 6 years ago, probably. Yeah, it would have been 6 years. 24 kids would have been 6 years. So that was 18. And we had one team, girls team. Then we had 2 teams. Then we had 4 teams. Then we merged with another program. Wasn't the alignment. So then we came back on our own this year, and we have 2 teams, right? When we started that merge, we brought in 40 or 50 players in that merge, right? Now, got out of the merge 2 years later, back on our own as just Team 1848. We have 20 players right now. 2 really, really good teams, very good teams, right? Which is great for our foundation.
Yep.
Since Chandra has come on with us and she's doing what she does, she's got connections. These girls believe in her. They know that like what we're talking about is truthful. Like it's in front of you. Like there's no denying that I played professional basketball.
Right.
There's no denying that she played professional basketball.
Unless they see you shooting layups now.
That's true too. That's fair. There's no denying
used to
that.
play.
Like that is the truth. It's in front of you.
Yep.
Since then, like we've doubled already. If we had teams right now based off of what we have, like we've doubled.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like
So
there's your growth.
That's what you got to do. Document the journey so you don't forget. Because it's hard to remember 5-6 years. Like I started this 6 years ago. For me to be sitting here on the podcast and looking back, like I wouldn't even know. Like it just happens that fast, and you lose perspective. I think if you don't document or even look back at why you're there in the first place. So that's my advice for the day.
Yes.
Yeah. 100% agreed. So it definitely is documented. Like we know the numbers, we know the things, and we're just looking at now. Like
Just build off of that.
if you guys could have saw the open house, it was like it was almost scary. It was like, what have we done here?
Yeah.
And the energy was high, and all the things were like it was like.
So with that being said, now that we're kind of going backwards, where do you see yourselves forward?
Well,
Chandra?
moving forward, my vision and goal, I mean, I can talk about this upcoming season is, we want to create a very, elite competitive team. So we're going to build one team per grade level and surround it with quality coaches. But I think when we talk about how you've been growing, I mean, talk about women in leadership in sports. I think, you hired a female, a leader and girls gravitate towards that. Girls want to play for other girls, play for women that lead. So I think that's a big key too. And so when we talk about where we go from here, building those teams to be highly competitive, providing some fundamental skills training in the off season, so they can continue to work on their game and grow, and not just in our AAU season. I think that's going to be super key. And then we continue to just build.
So I'm thinking about how they can market all of it right now.
know,
Think about
I
how many
saw your
different
reels
videos you could create for training purposes.
Oh,
we
we're
might
on
have to
it.
talk. You
We
know
will
what I mean?
have to talk for sure.
We're on it.
But at the end of the day, if somebody's listening and they're like, "Hey, I really want to be part of this. I want to help out. I want to maybe join out or go in the next tryouts," how are we going to get a hold of you? How do we get started in that journey?
Check out our Facebook page, Team 1848, website team1848.com, Instagram, all the things.
All the things.
All the information is there. Email us at generalgrassroots@team1848.com. Just all the information. Like you can find us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can find us. I think in just one thing, like I think the one thing that's most exciting to me about this whole process is the fact that these young ladies are going to have a chance to lean on Chandra and ask Chandra these questions, and they're going to get this insight, right, from somebody who's done it, right? Like somebody once said this to me before I had kids, and they go, Actually, I'm pretty sure it was my mom. She goes, you know why it's important that for, and I know this isn't for everybody, but what's important about having two parents in a household, and this doesn't mean anything's going to go wrong, but my mom said there were things, or having good role models even in your son or daughter's lives, like if mom or dad aren't around, but having these good, strong figures, like I had that, right? Is there are things that as your mom, I cannot teach you, right? Like to be a young man. There are things that I can't teach you. Like I'm going to do my very best. And there are things, if it were just a man, that you could not teach a daughter, right? Like I feel like this goes hand in hand. Like there are things that just she knows how they're going to feel or what they might be going through because she's a female. She's a woman. Like that only makes sense. And there are things that coaching boys, like only me as a player, former player, right? Or as a man will know what they're going through or how they may be feeling. And I think that was like one of the biggest things that I'm like, okay, I can try to do this, but you know what? Let me get somebody in here that I respect, that I know knows what they're doing, that can be that for them from top to bottom. Doesn't matter the age or the grade, right? From top to bottom, that'll understand what they may be feeling as a female player, what they may be feeling that day as just a female, right? Like I can't provide that, all of those things.
There's a biological
component
factor.
that
You know
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's super.
But for guys too.
I think it's super important.
Yeah.
And then lastly, it's like let two basketball people provide this. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care who you are. Like, if you haven't played this game at a high level and you haven't studied this game and you haven't been about this game, like there are some things that like, yeah, you can know and be good at. Like even the best coaches in the NBA may not have played, but they don't know what's going on, how LeBron James is feeling because they ain't never been there, right? Like that part.
That's why LeBron has a lot of coaches.
Kobe, whoever. I'm a LeBron fan.
Got him.
But whoever. So it's like you got basketball people leading this, right? Not non-basketball people like. And basketball's been my whole job. Right? Basketball's been her job, and now leadership is her job, and teaching is her job. Like these things all go together. We're not just like some random people that our full-time job is selling windows or whatever that is, and we're just like, oh yeah, there's let's
I like
start
basketball
a team.
too.
Yeah, or like
This is your
Sorry
life.
to all the window people out there.
You know we're in real estate, right?
No disrespect.
But
Sorry if you're on a grassroots
I think the
program,
point
I'm
you're
sorry.
trying to make, though, is like you guys are not just coaching basketball people. You're raising young men and women to be better men and women.
That's right.
At the end of the day, like that's the foundation of what you guys are trying to do. Basketball just happens to be you're emphasizing their talent in the process.
It's a
It's
platform.
a vehicle.
And we know what sports gives back to, as young kids and as now we're adults. Like, basketball has literally taken me around the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with you, Harry, right? So
To places I would have never been able, people I've never been able to meet.
and the relationships, right?
And then all the skills that it builds, just being on
right.
team sport and making you a better friend, a better mom, a better husband, all the things. So
Awesome.
Well, I love what you guys are doing. Keep doing it. Keep building. Keep showing up, and keep creating those spaces for those people to connect. I mean, some of these young people, I'm sure this is the thing for them, right? And this is their home. So we appreciate you making this a better community to live in.
Love it.
That's awesome.
I think that's a wrap, huh?
That's a wrap.
Thank you
baby.
guys. Thanks
You
for
bet.
having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
Thanks for coming on,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks for reaching out last week. It was perfect timing, and that's episode 29, right?
That's episode 29. Thank you so much, guys. We'll be back next week.